Good morning. Today we want to talk for a few minutes about fall protection. Now, we talk about fall protection a good bit, but this morning we want to talk about fall protection in the context of 100% fall protection and what that means. The reason I say that is because the key purpose of fall protection is ensuring that workers are safe when they're performing typical job functions at height. That means 100% tie off, although that's easier said than done. To achieve continuous safety, it's essential to start with mobility. Very often you'll hear real estate agents, when they're talking about a particular piece of property, they'll say, location, location, location. Well, when we are talking about fall protection, one of the key essential elements that we have to stress is mobility, mobility, mobility. That is, how can I remain tied off and accomplish my task and maintain that 100% tie off, still be able to move. So mobility, mobility, mobility becomes the key word. One of the things that perhaps is the most concerning when you read incident reports is that many fall fatalities occur while the user's wearing fall protection, actually has a harness on. Why did that happen? In most cases, the worker wasn't given perhaps the correct equipment to perform his or her job duty while staying continuously connected to an anchor point or fall arrest system. Very often the issue happens when a worker's trying to make a transition. Well, transition occurs when you're trying to perform your job after disconnecting and then reconnecting from the fall arrest system to a different location while you're being exposed to a fall. So an example of a transition like this would be changing from a single point tie off like an anchor strap and then connecting to a horizontal lifeline. The worker disconnects his or her lanyard or SRL and then connects to the next system. Well, there's a moment in time, a fraction of a moment perhaps, when that person is actually not tied off. That's a transition. What we want to address is that particular issue as to how to be able to successfully make the transition so that you can manage what you're doing during that critical time, that going from one tie-off point to another and not having to disconnect entirely and then turn around and reconnect. It takes a bit of planning sometimes. It takes a bit of ingenuity at times to be able to say, well, I'm still tied off here. I'm going to be tied off there. I may need to use my SRL to tie off to this and my lanyard to stay tied off over here and be able to switch back and forth. That's the reason, for example, why we give you 2 lanyards and an SRL, because it gives you that opportunity to remain tied off at 100%. So what I want you to consider is, as you are approaching situations, try to do a bit of pre-planning even while you're moving down the iron. Say, okay, well, when I get down there, what am I going to do? How am I going to address this particular situation so that I can remain tied off at 100%, thereby being genuinely safe and fulfilling what it means to have true fall protection.